The customer opened the door before I even got out of my car. That wasn't the strange part. The strange part was that I hadn't marked myself as arrived yet. The app still showed I was almost 2 minutes away. He stood perfectly still beneath the porch light, watching me through the windshield, with his hands in his jacket pockets. When I finally stepped out with the grocery bags, he smiled and said, "I was wondering how long you'd take this time, Ethan." I'd never delivered to that address before. At least, that's what I believed.
I started driving for Spark after losing my warehouse job outside Indianapolis. Grocery deliveries weren't glamorous, but they paid enough to keep my apartment and truck. Most evenings followed the same routine. Walmart pickup, scan the bags, drive across town, drop everything at the customer's door, take the confirmation photo, repeat until midnight. After a few months, neighborhoods blended together. Every subdivision looked the same. Every apartment complex had identical beige buildings and impossible parking. You learn to trust the GPS more than street signs.
That Tuesday started exactly like every other shift. 8 deliveries before dinner. Nothing memorable. Around 8:40 p.m., a new order appeared. Just 6 grocery bags, $27, 15 miles away. The destination was a small neighborhood outside Greenfield, surrounded by farmland and long stretches of empty county roads. The customer's name was simply M. No profile picture, no delivery instructions.
The drive took almost half an hour. As I turned onto the final road, houses became scarce. Large properties sat hundreds of feet apart behind rows of trees. Porch lights were the only things breaking up the darkness. The GPS led me to a gray 2-story house with no visible neighbors. That's where the man was already waiting, watching me, waiting before the app even knew I'd arrived.
He looked to be in his late 50s, gray beard, baseball cap, no expression. He accepted the bags without looking inside. Instead, he kept looking at me. "You changed trucks." I laughed awkwardly. "I think you've got the wrong driver." "No." He shook his head slowly. "You've been here before." "I'm pretty sure I haven't." Another long pause. Then he smiled again. "Maybe you just don't remember." He carried the groceries inside without another word. I completed the delivery and drove away, trying to convince myself he was just confusing me with another driver. People made mistakes all the time. Still, as I pulled onto the county road, I glanced in the mirror. He hadn't gone inside. He was still standing on the porch, watching my taillights disappear. An hour later, I stopped at a gas station for coffee. While waiting in line, I opened the delivery history to check the address. The order was gone. Not completed. Gone. I refreshed the app. Nothing. Every other delivery from that day was still listed, just not that one. I assumed it was a server issue, until I checked my earnings. The $27 had disappeared too. I contacted driver support. The representative asked for the order number. I gave it to her. There was silence. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "That order number doesn't exist. I thought she'd typed it wrong. I literally delivered it an hour ago. Our system has no record of any delivery to that address tonight." I sat in my truck, staring at the phone. Then she asked something that made my stomach tighten. "Sir, are you sure you were using the official navigation?" "What?" "The coordinates attached to the screenshot you uploaded don't match any active customer." I hadn't uploaded a screenshot. The app had done it automatically. At least, I thought it had. The next afternoon, I reported for another shift. Before loading my first order, another driver approached me. "You Ethan?" "Yeah." He looked relieved. "I've been trying to find you." I'd never seen him before. "My name's Chris." He lowered his voice. "Did you deliver groceries to an old farmhouse east of Greenfield yesterday?" I froze. "How do you know that?" His expression changed immediately. "So you actually went?" "What do you mean?" "I got that same order last month." He pulled out his phone and opened his gallery. I started taking screenshots after something weird happened. He showed me a picture of a delivery screen. Customer M. Same payout, same road, same house, same order size. My heartbeat sped up. The guy knew my name before I got there, Chris said quietly. I stared at him. He said I'd been delivering to him for years. Chris looked over his shoulder to make sure no one was listening. Then, the order disappeared. And support? They said it never existed. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Finally, he said something I still think about. I figured it was a glitch. He swallowed. Until someone started leaving groceries on my porch.
I frowned. What do you mean? Chris unlocked another folder on his phone. It wasn't screenshots this time. It was photos. The first showed 2 brown paper grocery bags sitting neatly beside his front door. The second had 3-gallon jugs of water. The third was taken at night. A cardboard box sat on his welcome mat, with no shipping label, no logo, nothing. They started showing up about a week after that delivery, he said. Never every day, just often enough that I couldn't ignore it. Did you check your security camera? I didn't have one then. So who was bringing them? He shook his head. I installed cameras after the 3rd delivery, and they never caught anyone. I looked at him, waiting for the punchline. There had to be a blind spot. I thought so too. He zoomed into one of the recordings. The timestamp read 3:17 a.m. His porch was empty. Nothing moved. Then, in the very next frame, less than a second later, the bags were simply there. No transition? I asked. It records continuously. He scrubbed through the footage. One frame, empty porch. Next frame, groceries. No person, no vehicle, no shadows, nothing. A chill ran through me until he laughed once. Before you say it, yeah, I know how it looks. He opened another clip. This camera covers the driveway. Again, nothing. No headlights, no one walking, no cars entering or leaving. I spent $300 replacing the cameras because I thought they were defective. Were they? No. He slipped the phone back into his pocket. The police said someone probably knew where the cameras couldn't see. That explanation made sense. At least it was supposed to. But here's the part that doesn't. He looked directly at me. They always brought exactly what I'd forgotten to buy. For the rest of my shift, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I almost convinced myself Chris was exaggerating. People loved telling creepy stories. By evening, I'd nearly forgotten the conversation. Then another order appeared. Customer M, $29, 8 items, different address, same county. I stared at the screen. The pickup timer counted down. Accept, decline, accept, decline. My thumb hovered over the button. I declined it. 30 seconds later, the exact same order came back. I declined again. It returned almost instantly. By the 5th time, I called driver support. I keep getting the same order. That's normal if there aren't enough drivers. The customer's named M. A pause. Okay, I don't want that delivery. No problem. The representative manually removed it from my queue. I thanked her and hung up. 5 minutes later, my phone vibrated. New order available. It was M again, except this time, it wasn't through the app. It was a text message. No phone number, just a gray bubble. You're already nearby. I slammed on the brakes. There was no number to block, no contact information, just the message. A second text appeared before I could react. You forgot the milk last time. I checked the grocery list. 1 gallon of whole milk. I had never told anyone what was in that first order. I had barely looked inside the bags myself. My hands suddenly felt cold against the steering wheel. Then another message arrived. Turn around. You're only 7 minutes away. I deleted the conversation. The entire message thread vanished before I even reached the home screen, as if it had never existed. I ended my shift early. The whole drive home, I kept checking my mirrors. No one followed me, no strange cars, no headlights lingering behind me. By midnight, I was starting to feel ridiculous. I lived on the 2nd floor of a small apartment complex. 1 entrance, 30 units, plenty of neighbors. I locked the door, watched an episode of some sitcom, and finally went to bed. Around 6 the next morning, someone knocked. 3 slow knocks. Not loud,
just enough to wake me. I looked through the peephole. Nobody. When I opened the door, there was a single reusable Walmart grocery bag sitting against the frame. Inside were 3 things: a gallon of whole milk, a loaf of wheat bread, and the brand of coffee I bought every Saturday. There was no receipt, no note, nothing, except a folded delivery confirmation slip tucked into one of the handles. Across the top, where the customer's name should have been, someone had written in black marker, "Next time, don't ignore the order."